of birth control, or contraception, which means the deliberate use of artificial methods or other techniques to prevent pregnancy as a consequence of sexual intercourse. May seem like a relatively modern topic, and it is surely controversial. However, humans have been using a dizzying array of birth control methods since ancient times, and some of these might seem bizarre or have proved to be very dangerous. Possibly the earliest form of birth control was called coitus interruptus, where the male withdraws his penis before ejaculation occurs. It is perhaps the single most common contraceptive method in history. Gordon. There is documented evidence that ancient cultures from the Jewish to the Egyptian to the Chinese practiced this method of birth control. It is even mentioned in the Bible in the book of Genesis, when Onan incurred the wrath of Yahweh by releasing his seed onto the ground rather than into the womb. Riddle 1992. The Egyptians, 1850 to 1500 BC. Jar of honey. One of the ancient Egyptian prescriptions for birth control includes a tampon-like pessary smeared with honey mixed with soda or saltpeter. Other methods and devices used strictly for birth control have also been around since ancient times, beginning with the ancient Egyptian civilization. The Khayyam Papyrus dates from 1850 BC and is the oldest known medical text in the world today. It includes 3 fragments of prescriptions designed to prevent pregnancy. All of them deal with pessaries, or vaginal suppositories. One of the prescriptions calls for crocodile dung to be mashed up and mixed with a fermented dough, and another calls for honey mixed with soda or saltpeter. The third prescription calls for unreadable ingredients which were also mixed with a fermented dough. Other medical papyruses, including the Ramesseum papyrus from the 17th century BC, also advised the use of crocodile dung. Dung from various animals was used because it was sticky and might have formed a semi-successful barrier to hinder sperm penetration. It could also be that the use of crocodile dung had a religious meaning as well, as the crocodile was the animal associated with the Egyptian god Set, who, in turn, is associated with hemorrhaging, miscarriage, and abortion. Acacia forms lactic anhydride when it is compounded, which is often a component in modern contraceptive jellies. James and Thorne. The Greeks, 4th to 2nd century BC. Olive oil. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle noted that one of the ingredients common in birth control in his day was olive oil, and 20th century studies have shown it is an effective spermicide. The ancient Greeks also had their own methods of birth control. The Greek gynecologist Soranus of Ephesus in the 2nd century, who also practiced in Rome, suggested that women drink water that blacksmiths had used to cool iron. The philosopher Aristotle noted that women in his day tended to coat their cervixes with a mixture of cedar or frankincense and olive oil with an ointment of white leaf before intercourse. The olive oil applications of his day did likely prevent pregnancy, as studies done in the 20th century by Marie Stopes, a modern pioneer of contraception, showed that olive oil does significantly decrease the motility of sperm. The Greeks also relied on prostata or pessus, which were very similar to the Egyptian pessaries. Greek physician Hippocrates recommended the use of a sort of pumpkin pessary which he described as the inside of a pumpkin well crushed in cedar resin, wrapped into a cloth leaving its end bare, then inserted as deep as possible. After it is stained with blood, it is pulled out. Bujalkova. The Romans, 1st century AD. Wild carrot. Roman physicians such as Galen listed about 12 plants that acted as effective contraceptives, including Queen Anne's lace, juniper, and pennyroyal. Some Roman scholars such as Pliny recommended that women wear an amulet made of the insides of hairy spiders wrapped in deerskin or mouse dung applied in the form of a liniment. Other physicians, such as Dioscorides c. 40, 80, and Galen 129, listed about a dozen plants that acted as effective oral contraceptives. These included asafoetida, juniper, pennyroyal, squirting cucumber, and Queen Anne's lace, wild carrot, Jameson thorn. These early forms of herbal birth control were effective. However, they did prove to have dangerous side effects, which is why physicians like Soranus returned to the traditions of Aristotle and ancient Egypt in his text Gynecology, where he favored the use of vaginal plugs of wool or smearing the orifice of the uterus all over with old olive oil, honey, cedar resin, or the juice of the balsam tree, alone or together with white lead, or with an anointment containing myrtle oil and white lead ibid.